Welcome to the Arrington Gavin Show. Real talk, big opinions, and fearless conversations. From the front lines of politics to the latest in pop culture. From breaking sports headlines to the stories that move the world. Nothing's off limits, and nobody's holding back. Arrington Gavin is here to break it down, build it up, and keep it all the way real. So turn it up, lean in, and let's get into it. This is the Arrington Gavin Show.
What is happening, fam? What is happening? What is happening? What is happening? Welcome to the Arrington Gavin Show, your go-to spot for sharp insights, bold opinions, and unfiltered takes on the biggest stories of the day. Whether it is politics, pop culture, politics, sports, or pop culture, or the latest buzz. Look, as always, we're diving deep and keeping it real. So please do me a favor, kick back, stay informed, and get ready to join the conversation. Family, on today's conversation, I'm honored to have Mayor Weyling White. He is the mayor of Ahoskie, a small town close to about 5,000 folks in the state of North Carolina. For the awesome thing about Ahoskie, just a little bit of background. Y'all know I attended a small school in North Carolina, Murfreesboro, North Carolina, Chowan University. And being a kid from Chesapeake, it's like, okay, Chesapeake, we had everything. Hampton Roads, we had everything. So I'm a kind of city kid at heart. Now transition to a small town. First of all, you know it's a small town when you get closer to where you're at and you lose service. You're like, hold up. I think I got a ball. I think that's when I was like, okay, I'm really in a small town here. And so being being there at Chowan University as a kid, a college kid. Obviously, once you're finished with your schoolwork, you want to have some fun with your friends. You're like, okay, where's the fun? Where can we go? Where is the access, right? Where's the grocery stores? Where's the restaurants? And Murfreesboro was very limited. So the closest town was Ahoskie. It was maybe about like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, something like that. And Ahoskie had it going on. Why? Because Ahoskie had a Walmart, super Walmart. Hello. I thought I was in heaven. Boy, I thought I was in. I'm like, oh, it was. And then they had the restaurants. They had the shopping stores as well. So it was like, okay, boom, Ahoskie, you got it right there. So Ahoskie was, had a special place in my heart. Now that was back in, because I graduated college 2017. So again, you do the math. Though that was a minute since I've been in Ahoskie. But then I had the opportunity, y'all, last year to serve as a red carpet host for a very popular award show in the Hampton Roads area called the Black Men Rock Image Awards. That's right, the Black Men Rock Image Awards, which it might sound familiar to you because I mean, what is this? Yes, this was mine. I also too was received award for top entrepreneur of the year. Yes. I mean, I rarely bring this out all the time, but yeah. All right, I'm finished. But anyway, yeah, I had the opportunity of interviewing so many amazing brothers, and one of those men was Mayor White. And when I found out, I'm like, wait, Mayor, what time did you say? Ahoskie? I'm like, oh snap! And just such a humble, dope guy, and what an amazing resume, might I add. So I couldn't be even more excited to have him on the show. We're gonna have some great conversations just of his background, goals for Ahoskie, how it is to lead a town, because we talk a lot of local politics, on a city level, which is a much larger scale, but you forget about the rural towns, and you want to have an understanding when it comes to town politics, right? And so I'm excited to have him on to see how Ahoskie is doing, especially under the circumstances of this new administration, which we have a lot of cuts and government cuts and grant funding cuts that are happening, which is putting effects to rural communities. So again, I'm excited to have Mayor White on, and you guys are going to be in for a great conversation, might I ask. Before I move forward, as always, y'all, thank you so much for tuning into the Arrington Gavin Show. I'm your homie, your friend, Arrington Gavin. Do me a favor. If you happen to be streaming us on our YouTube channel right now, look, like, subscribe, share with a friend, the Arrington Gavin Show. We are doing some great stuff on that channel. We are growing in subscribers as well as views, and we want to keep that momentum going. In addition to that, you can also stream us on the Goatverse TV network. That's right. If you haven't downloaded the app, please do so. Goatverse TV app. It's available on the App Store, Google Play Store, Roku, as well as Amazon Fire TV. And check this out, y'all. It's free. So I don't know about y'all. I love Free 99, right? And it's an amazing, growing, independent network that has filled with so many amazing programs like yours truly. And so please do me a favor, support. In addition to that, you can tune in to all wherever you listen to your podcast, to the Arrington Gavin Show. And then you can also listen to us on the radio airwaves. We're in about 2 major markets at the moment. We want to continue to grow that, but we're honored to be on those 2 stations. First, shout out to our listeners tuning into the program right now in New Orleans by way of WBOK 1230 a.m. What New Orleans is talking about. That's right. Be sure to tune into the Arrington Gavin Show Monday through Fridays at 7 p.m. Central Time. Again, that's WBOK 1230 a.m. And then let's move it on to the Metro Atlanta region by way of WDJY and 99.1 FM Straight Talk. You can tune into the Arrington Gavin Show Monday through Fridays at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that is, again, WDJY 99.1 FM. All righty, friends. So before we head to a commercial break, what I also have to do, let's see here. We always love to do a fun fact of the day before we get going with our conversation. So being that we have Mayor White on, I figured it would be great to have a fun fact about Ahoskie, North Carolina. So let me go ahead and get my fun fact ready for you all. Let's see here. Okay, check this out. So did you know that Ahoskie played a significant role in Black education in Eastern North Carolina? It was the home to one of the first accredited Black high schools in the region, Robert L. Van School. So again, a little history lesson right there. So again, rich history in Ahoskie, North Carolina, and it's continued to do so many great things under the leadership of Mayor White. So that was our fun fact of the day. Let's go ahead on, my friends. We're going to head to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we have a lot more show for you here on the Arrington Gavin Show. Do not go anywhere. We'll be back after these commercial breaks.
Every man has a story to tell. Your ambitions, your achievements, your legacy. Your suit should reflect that story, crafted precisely, designed for impact, and tailored exclusively for you. We work with only the finest fabrics, luxurious wools, silk, linen, and blends from world-renowned mills in Italy, the UK, and India. These fabrics are the foundation of custom suits that exude elegance and stand the test of time. But a suit isn't just about fabric, it's about fit, and it's about confidence, and it all starts with you. When you work with me, you'll receive a personalized consultation, whether in person or over Zoom. Together, we'll explore your vision and discuss your needs, and we're gonna bring your ideas to life. My journey as a designer includes apprenticing under New York-based designer Clavon Leonard, showcasing collections at New York Fashion Week, Algeria Fashion Week, and the prestigious Baltimore Met Gala. That experience is what we bring to every suit we create, from weddings to corporate events and everything in between. We specialize in crafting one-of-a-kind suits for life's most significant moments. Dapper Luke has been recognized as one of Baltimore's best menswear in 2023, and I was honored to be one of the 10 designers selected for the prestigious Baltimore Met Gala. With over 900 satisfied clients, we proudly serve Virginia Beach and Baltimore, bringing world-class designs to these incredible communities. We don't just make suits, we craft confidence. Your suit will fit your body, your style, and it will tell your story. Book your free online personal consultation today. Visit www.dapperluke.com.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to
And we still in traffic.
Don't look familiar, do I? Not in this seat.
Hey, what's that you listening to?
Here to host today.
Hey, turn it up. Yeah, that's that new Gold Verse app. I got you.
So y'all want to know where the goats are? They're off on the sidelines.
Looking for fresh, relevant content wherever you go?
What was the name of that he said?
Introducing GoatVerse TV.
GoatVerse, that's what it's called.
The free streaming app that brings you the best podcasts, current events, and thought-provoking opinions all in one place. Download it now from the Apple Store or Play Store. In Goats, we trust.
Order your beard care products with Rugged Evolution. We're your local beard care line that supports the maintenance of your full, mature beard. Our line includes conditioning shampoos, moisturizers, balms, oils, shaving lotions, and exfoliating soaps. These products moisturize, hydrate, nourish, and have all the natural ingredients for a healthy beard. Log on to our website or download our app to place your orders. Become a man of distinction with Rugged Evolution Beard Care. And remember,
rugged is the new smooth.
All right, family, welcome back to the Arrington Gavin Show. As I mentioned earlier, I'm honored to have a special guest, Mayor Weyling White. He is the mayor of Ahoskie, the town of Ahoskie, located in the state of North Carolina. It is a town located in the Hereford County area of North Carolina. Now, as of the 2020 census, population is close to, I would say 5,000, well, rounded up. So during the 2020 census, it was around 4,891 residents. Now, again, we're in 2025. I will round it up and say, close to 5,000 or a little over. We'll ask the mayor. Ahoskie is also known as what has a nickname, the only one, because there is no other town in the world with the same name. Again, honored to have one. Mayor White, let me go and bring on our special guest. Mr. Mayor, how's everything going with you, sir?
It's going pretty good. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Well, look, I'm excited to have you on. As I mentioned before, I had the opportunity of hearing more about your story during the Black Men Rock Image Awards, which is a prestigious award in the Hampton Roads area. But I mean, really, I wouldn't say in the Hampton Roads area because we have folks, like yourself, that comes from out of the Hampton Roads area that's honored. And so hearing your story, man, I was like, again, just so inspired, because for me, as a young Black man, I'm always continuing to learn from those, and just I'm always on the mission of changing the narrative. So I always look up to folks that are doing the same exact thing. I just I take notes. I always tune in and follow up what they're doing. I follow you on social media. I see so much great stuff happening in Ahoskie. For those who are not familiar with you, can you give us a little just a little background about yourself, a little bit about your upbringing, all that good stuff?
Born and raised here in Ahoskie. A lot of people meet me and they're like, well, where were you born? Where did you come from? I was born and raised here. And I attended public schools, left to go to a HBCU, go Rams. I'm a alum of WSSU, where of course I pledged Alpha there, so 06 to the brothers. But my background has been in public health. So I worked in healthcare and in public health throughout my career. So I've always been a public servant, always, just stayed in tune with my community. I was raised by my mother, grandfather, instilled a lot of values in me about, giving back and just being a beacon of hope for my community. So, I've had great aspirations here. I always looked through our town through the lens that we could always do much better, that, we've always been resilient, as with a lot of rural communities such as, Ahoskie and other places in the surrounding areas. But I just wanted to put my service and my education expertise, to giving back, just put it in the proper area of public leadership and public service. So that's what, kind of get me into get into politics.
That's awesome. That is so awesome. Growing up, now I was, myself as a teen, I was that kid was like, man, I can't wait to move out of my home city. I can't wait when I get, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. And so it changed for me. The older I got, when I was attending college, I actually started, I started working on a business plan my sophomore year. So once I was working on that whole mindset of, wherever I do, I'm just going, I'm getting out of here, yada, yada, yada. And then fast forward to becoming a business owner, I developed to love my home city more. It continues to grow on me almost every single day. When I see new development or anything coming to the area, I'm thrilled. I'm excited. Was that the case for you from a young kid all the way, now? Was that always the case for you, or was there moments, during your youth era, like, man, I got to get out of here? I mean, because Ahoskie, won't, it's still a small town. It's still a small town compared to other cities. So like, would that ever come across your mind?
Yeah, it did, and I'm glad you brought that up because I talk to a lot of people that's from here, and I tell them, I understand it because I left, and the reason I went to Winston-Salem State University was because I wanted to go to a HBCU. For those that don't know where Ahoskie is located, we're located on Eastern North Carolina, very close to the Hampton Roads area, of course, and so I wanted to go to a HBCU that was the farthest away from here, but was still in North Carolina. A lot of people would say, go away and never come back. And I feel like that's a dangerous phrase, go away, get your experiences, but please come back and utilize your talents to give back to your community. You can stay wherever you live, but we need talented people to come back because if everybody leave and nobody returns, who's going to build up our community, So for me, as I grew up, I always felt that we are rural, we're in the country, and I always used to just be jealous of other places where you would see like the NBA stars would return home and come back, or the rappers would go and throw a free show, and I'm just like, man, we never get nothing. We're here, nobody wants to come to Ahoskie, so it wasn't that I wanted to get away. It was like, man, why can't we be like everywhere else and have fun things to do or have people that want to come here? And so I started thinking, man, well, if other places can do that, what makes Ahoskie so different? Why can't we experience the same things? And so instead of that forcing me to leave and never return, it forced me to want to come back and make the difference. So we could be on the same playing field as, other cities and other rural areas in America too.
I couldn't agree more with that, Mr. Mayor, because I'm starting to notice it and continue to notice it time and time at least in the Hampton Roads area, because like, for example, the first thing that comes to mind is, sports. What was headline news for us for the longest? Michael Vick's coming home and coaching at HBCU school. No one had this coming. It received national press. It's still receiving a lot more feedback, positive feedback. And so we're like, wow, this gentleman who's done it all, has become very successful, is coming back home and coaching here and just selling the family back. And so I couldn't agree more with that, because when you and I use the example as like, okay, from my alma mater, Chowan University, when I graduated, I think we might have been looking close at I don't know, I'm gonna just say between 1,200 to possibly 1,500 students. Now, since the pandemic occurred, it had put a huge dent in the school attendance rate, and so, or enrollment rate. And so the one thing I always will tell my wife, who's also an alum from Chowan, I'm always like saying, okay, when we become successful, we have to give back to the folks that helped that journey. In order for seeing some more growth, it's like we can't just say deuces and then just let them fall. You can't do that. So I always try and do my part, at least to visit, to my business advertise during their athletics for a few times, and still want to continue to do some form of giving back to the schools. And so I totally agree again to what you had said, as far as like bringing that talent back to home to help continue to build. Because how do you think we continue to keep that momentum and that growth going?
Absolutely, yeah.
So let's so fast forward. You attended an HBCU school. I know you had a blast, because I come from a even though Chowan was an HBCU school, it should have been, because we was in CIAA. We played against all HBCU. It should have been. But and we had majority black frats and sororities, so it's like, okay, we are a black school, okay. But a lot of my family are graduates from HBCU schools. We have NSU, Hampton, Howard, and so I understand like that rich history going to an HBCU school. When did the bug for you? Now I know you spoke about public service, but when did the bug for you to say, okay, look, I want to take a leap of faith. I want to run for public office? Because that's like something that is, wait, time out. That's a huge responsibility, being in that leadership role. What made you want to join, get involved in the local politics in your hometown?
Yeah, it was two separate instances that sparked the idea for me. The very first one was during the death of Trayvon Martin. When that happened, I was living here in Ahoskie, and there was a Unity in the Community event. It was sponsored by various leaders throughout the community, city council, sheriff, DA. And so I was working, of course, in healthcare at the time, and we went to attend this panel event, and I saw our leaders blaming kids for being targets in the community. You know, one guy was like, "I'll tell my son not to wear a hoodie," or we'll be talking to parents, but the kids come to school with guns in the lockers, and I'm just like, hold on. Wow. We're talking about these kids are victims, and I've seen police brutality here on the streets of Ahoskie as a young man. And so my question was, if I've seen this with my own eyes, how do you all build the trust with the community so I feel safe after what I've just witnessed on TV? And no one could answer the question. And so I was like, okay, that was the first, because I'm like, man, these are all of our leaders. Like, who it's like the blind leading the blind. And so when that happened, then fast forward to 2018, I was a part of this program called Leadership North Carolina. We went around various parts of North Carolina, just learning about business, healthcare, education, government, things of that nature. And the program chair of that program set me down. I never forget this. We was in front of the fire pit. And he was like, just tell me about yourself. Tell me where you're from. And I was like, I'm from Ahoskie. We're dealing with all these issues. We have a huge problem with gang violence and shootings and things of that nature. And he said, man, you really speak very passionate about your community. You should run for office. I absolutely had no idea, no interest. I was like, no, put my name on the line. The first thing that popped in my mind was the ads. This person is a liar.
them attack ads. They gonna come after you.
And I was like, look,
how can you trust this man? This man right here just threw his gum on the ground. Shame. Shame.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't want to open my family. I'm like, no. And so I went home, and it was like a year-long program. So 2019 happens, and to the end of the program, he's like, you sure you don't want to, do this? And when I returned home, I would always look through a different lens now, because I've been learning so much throughout, this program. And I said, okay, I'm gonna pray on it and I'm gonna think on it. And so me and my grandmother, we share the same birthday, May 16th. I'll never forget this weekend. She turned 80, and we threw her a birthday we threw her a birthday party. Took her to the church, and when we came back to her home, I was helping her out of the car, and you could just feel like something different in the air. And I noticed I was stepping on some crazy stuff under my feet, and when I looked at my uncle's car, I saw a bullet hole, and I looked at her house, I saw a bullet hole, and I was stepping on shells, helping her to the house. And I said, Grandma, there was a shootout right here in your house when we was going at your party. And when I thought about that, I'm like, man, this has been an ongoing issue. None of our leaders, none of the town council, nobody is talking about the violence and what's going on with these young Black men here. Because it was the Wild Wild West. And so when I thought about it, I said, okay, I can't ignore it. The Lord literally brought this issue to my doorstep, to my grandmother's doorstep. I have to do something about it. I didn't know that in that same year, it was an election year, and it was an election year for mayor. And so my best friend, he majored in political science. He actually ran for city council in Durham. He was like, oh, I'm going to be your campaign manager. And everything lined up. It was nothing but the grace of God that it felt like it was destined that I had to do that. And so it was just me being obedient. And then I learned that there was never a Black mayor before. We never had an African-American mayor. So that same year I ran unopposed. Nobody else wanted a job. I met with the current mayor, and he said, I just wanted to see who was going to run, because I don't want to do this anymore. And he was like, I'm not going to run against you. You got my full support. And so made history and became mayor that same year.
Wow, man. And for the first time, First of all, I hope a movie director or producer or writer is listening to this program. I'm serious because, bro, that is so. And excuse me, Mr. Mayor, for calling you, bro. I feel like we I feel like we can right now. I just feel like we own. And it blows my mind because, for one, this was your first time ever running. Correct? Did you run for anything? That was your first time running. Absolutely. Like you had said before, the signs was right there at your grandmother's doorstep, right? It was that time. And then on top of that, let's not forget the current mayor said, you know what? I'm not gonna run re-election. I'm standing by you, Hunter. Like, first of all, and that's what I call, for one, elected officials that do care about the people. They're like, okay, let's not make this a whole back and forth, because one thing, and I've heard you mention it in your during your message that you were speaking on just a few moments ago when you were at a city meeting, and you were like, okay, they're blaming the elected officials, or the leaders at the time are blaming the people rather than being held accountable. And on top of that, that's the issue that we have, in my opinion, in our current time, because the trust is not there. The trust is not there. It's so hard for me as a young guy to continue to encourage my friends, or my younger friends, the importance of why you should still get out there and vote, right? Because people are like saying, well, I'm tired of wasting my vote, because guess what, none of my promises that they quote unquote do during election season is never met, and then we continue to elect the same old, and folks are tired. Folks are extremely frustrated. We're in some, I think this is some of the roughest times, and my listeners know I'm pretty biased. I mean, I'm a straight shooter. I'm an independent guy, but I'm very critical of at this point both parties, but more than the other. I'll just say that, because we have an administration in Washington that I just can't hold my tongue. But luckily, I got folks out at WBOK and WJ. They appreciate they let me free. They let me vent, and it's just insane that we do have still elected officials that want to point the fingers at folks that got them in the office. And I'm like, wait, what is wrong with that picture here? Something's not right. So seeing your journey, sir, the fact that you said, no, something has to be done. And for that, also making history as the first African-American elected is awesome. It is such a true honor, again, to have you on. So once that happened, how was that feeling when, you were elected mayor? How was that feeling going?
It felt good, but it was sort of a daunting feeling, because this is 2019, and I'm just like, how am I the first Black mayor in 2019 when we are 60% African American? How is that? Why have we been systemically conditioned to think that we couldn't achieve this, or we couldn't get the support, and we are the majority here? And so there was a lot of pressure, and it came with a lot of scrutiny, a lot of discrimination. So I quickly found why I was the first, because the power dynamics in this town is strong, and have been for decades. And the wards, like we have a Ward A and Ward B. I grew up in Ward B. I live in Ward A now, but my grandfather, he would, when rest in peace, he would tell me, where you live now, if I got caught there across the street, if I got caught in your neighborhood after dark, I might not make it back home across the railroad tracks. So it's just so many different aspects that just kind of was hitting me at one point. And it's a lot of layers that we are peeling back just to move progress forward that we have to combat. So it was a lot of mixed emotions, but the community was very supportive, very proud. And that's one thing that I knew I couldn't let my community down. So just a quick funny story. I'm here in the mayor's office. In town hall, there was a mayor's office. And when I first got the tour, they was like, yeah, it's the mayor's office, but it's a closet. And I was like, hold on. So you don't have, it was like, just boxes, nothing. And I was like, okay, I'm going to have to do this. And just to that point, you can kind of read between the lines. I said, okay, well, I'm gonna need an office, and I was told by the town manager at the time, well, the mayor usually meets with people at grocery stores and in the stores and out in the community. They don't really need an office. And I was like, that may have been the history in the past, but if you know my people like I know them, they're not gonna come in here and look and be like, oh, where is he at? He's not working. No.
Go on, pull up a chair right there, pull up a stool right there, sit in that box. It's good. It's good.
Yeah. I need a
cobwebs.
laptop, I need a chair, you got to get me straight because I'm not doing that. And so that's just one example of like how we had to recondition and just kind of change the mindset in town hall and inside the community as well.
So I want to ask, there's a few follow-up questions. First one, when you had mentioned that Ahoskie has a large predominant African-American demographic, yet you were the first elected Black mayor. How is your voting turnout? I know in a lot of cities, I mean, really abroad, voting turnout is still, it's hard to get those people out there. Again, I could, say based on the lack of trust. So they like saying, why even bother? But how is the voting, how's the voting in your city, in your town?
Well, of course, anytime there's a presidential election is when you're going to get the most voter turnout.
I got you.
But my cycle is typically, on an off cycle. So it's been dwindling, but that's one of the struggles that we've been finding is, just trying to increase voter turnout with the use of just social media. I had to get really, really creative. I'm thankful both, this is my second term. We had a decent amount of voter turnout, but I still think we can do exponentially better, of course. I would say the millennial population isn't turning out as much. We do have a large number of the senior population here. And I'll tell you, church family, senior population, they're going to turn out. They're going to vote now. So I made sure to get people to the nursing homes, the churches, because that's where your voting lies. And, it's just the younger generation, the millennials that, our generation that is just, we'll support. We'll say we're going to do it on social media all day. We'll share your stuff, but it's just hard.
That's the thing, Mr. Mayor. Why do you think that's the case? Because I look at you. I've seen your majority of your council. Y'all have actually a lot of young individuals in as far as like the typical council that you would probably look at any elected office. Usually, you rarely see a lot of young folks. Like I had the opportunity of interviewing Mayor Philip Jones, mayor of Newport News, Virginia, another young guy, right? I'm interviewing you, another young guy. That's kind of foreign in some cases. So why do you think millennials? Because I'm millennials. I guess Gen Z, I believe is after. Why do you think the young turnout is still like it's difficult, but it's different when they want to be seen on social media? Like why do you think that? Why do you think that? Or why do you think that's
an amazing question. I'm not sure. I think when it comes to causes, like we're more in tune with like grassroots causes and things of that nature. Like it's funny because I'm like, okay, I know if I want to get the crowd out, I got to throw boots on the ground track or something tied to a fan. I can get everybody out there.
You're right.
I think with us, and I'll just speak for my community. I think it's all about meeting people where they at and really grabbing them and drawing them in. And we have to, for some reason, we have to see it to believe it. It's got to be tangible. We got to be sure, and it really has to be something to draw us out. I think that the way things are going now, prayerfully, a lot of people didn't turn out as they should have for this last election, but the way things are going, I think we're going to see record voter turnout for the next election, just because we're not even a year in and we're seeing what the lack of voting results in. So I think people are going to learn their lesson from the current climate right now.
Absolutely. Mr. Mayor, I want to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, I do want to talk more about the dynamics of town politics, having a town council, a town mayor, the difference between the two cities. So yes, y'all tuning into the Arrington Gavin show. I'm honored to be sitting here with Mayor Weyling White, mayor of Ahoskie. Ahoskie, town in North Carolina. So do not go anywhere. We'll be right back with some more great conversation here on the Arrington Gavin Show.
Jazera Learning Institute, LLC, is a hybrid learning center that strives to educate adults and children in all fields. During the day, we offer programs that are focused on developing students from pre-K to 12th grade, which includes tutoring, homeschool co-op, an after-school program, SAT, ACT prep, and many more engaging academic programs. Our adult education programs include workforce trainings, GED prep, life coaching, various seminars, and many more. Our vision is to train and educate in a positive way that will lead to a positive change in the world, one person at a time. For more information, visit us online at JazeranLearningInstitute.com or call us at 757-208-7407.
Let me tell you something most people get wrong about suits. A suit isn't just about you wearing it. It's how you show the world who you are. It's your handshake before you say a word, your presence when you step into any room. That's why we design statements at Dapper Luke. We don't just make suits. We'll start with the fabrics that tell your story, luxurious wools, silk, linen, and blends sourced from the finest mills in Italy, the UK, and India. Then we'll combine that with your vision, your personality, and your style. Every detail is tailored to you, from the fit to the finish. Whether for your wedding, a gala, the boardroom, we specialize in creating custom suits that are unique, just like the men who wear them. We spent years perfecting this craft, apprenticing under designers in New York and showcasing collections in New York and for Baltimore Fashion Week. None of that matters as much as seeing the look on your face when you try on your custom suit. Over 900 clients have already trusted us to deliver the best custom suits. They trust me to deliver the confidence. We proudly serve Virginia Beach and Baltimore and would be honored to bring your vision to life next. Let's create something unforgettable. Book your free consultation today at www.dapperluke.com.
People age 65 and older are at high risk of injury, especially from falls and car crashes. But older adults can take steps to stay safe from injury and be independent longer. Tell your doctor if you have fallen, if you worry about falling, or if you feel unsteady when standing or walking. Learn more about preventing falls and aging without injury at cdc.gov/stillgoingstrong.
All right, my friends, welcome back to the Arrington Gavin Show. I'm joining here with Mayor White, Mayor of Ahoskie, North Carolina. Look, we've been having just a great and powerful conversation. Mr. Mayor, I want to ask you, does folks have, the notion kind of wrong when it comes to handling a town compared to handling the city? So like, I'm a lifelong resident of Chesapeake, Virginia, right? We probably have, over 250,000 residents. I think we're like the second. I think population-wise, we're the second largest city in the state of Virginia. I know Ahoskie has close to around 5,000 residents, maybe more. Do folks have it wrong? Is it harder, or is it slightly easier to lead a town compared to leading a city?
I would say it depends. For me, I would say it's slightly harder. I know, and the reason I say that is because when most of these cities have bigger budgets, of course they have a bigger population, but I say this a lot, as a small town, you still have the small, you have the issues of big cities, but you have that small town budget. So, we have issues with crime. We have, the pothole issues. We may not have, high traffic problems, but there are other issues that we're dealing with fewer resources. People would say, a lot of people would say when there was a lot of shooting and a lot of violence going on, well, you can take those people and put them in a bigger city and they wouldn't last a minute. And I'm just like, no, bullets are real. People are still losing their lives. I don't care about, where it's happening in other cities. It's happening here in real time. And it's not a lot of it's not a lot of ground that they're covering. So this is close proximity, and so I would say, it's very tough. And then when you think about just the amount of people that is here, the accountability becomes even higher because, people have better access to you. I mean, my kids are in public school here. I shop here. I believe in spending all of my money here because, I want my tax dollars to stay right here at home. So I'm going to run into people that have issues. People that I've been growing up respecting my whole life. Once you get in office, you're only as good as the favor that you can do for someone. And if you make sure that someone's trash is picked up in a decent amount of time, or that that their grievance wasn't heard, you got to hear that, and but the thing about it is, even though it's it's a huge task at hand, I enjoy it because at the end of the day, some of these people get on my nerves, but I love them to death. And then, I mean, it's when it comes down to family, I treat everyone like family. So, you're going to have your issues just like every family does, but you're going to work through it. And so it takes a lot of people. They think that, you're in this seat. So you have this huge salary. The town has all this amount of money because they see the different things that we've been able to do, but they don't understand that it takes innovation. It takes grants. It takes partnering and network. It's a lot of hard work just for us to be able to seem like we're moving forward as, other big cities do, without all the hard work that goes behind it.
Well, speaking of grants, I have a follow-up question for that, but I want to ask just to kind of explain for our listeners here. So I see you have two on your town council. You have 2 wards and 1 at large. Now you have 2 folks representing each of those 2 wards. Now I know in some areas, usually it's like 1 individual for a ward or 1 person for a district, representing a district or representing a ward. So how many, I will say, each ward kind of covers, each council member represents in each ward. How many folks is that kind of just a guesstimate?
Yeah. So it's, you mean population?
Population, I'm sorry. Yes.
I would say we got a population of 3,000. I would say Ward A is probably we don't have it broken out to where, but I would say that's probably around 40%. And
I got you.
Living in Ward B.
Okay. Awesome. I wanted to go back when you mentioned about grants. Now, one thing that I know we've all noticed, moving on to the federal level, we have a new administration, same familiar face, but a new administration, which comes with new rules and new things he's trying to push out. And in my opinion, it hasn't been showing anything positive by any means. You've seen a lot of pro supporters of him that are now starting to say, "Oh, I feel embarrassed that I've even recommended folks to vote for him." I'm like, wow, you think? Like I have my experience. I'm sorry. There's folks that are, again, saying they regret. They're saying that X, Y, and Z. This is not what he promised. This is not what he promised. Again, I don't feel sorry for them as far as those supporters at the time, because it's like we've realized it from since he entered into politics. But we've seen a lot of job loss, job cuts, grant cuts, funding. I know in Hampton Roads, Virginia, I mean, you have we have majority federal workers that are, I can't tell you how many folks I've come across that said, wow, I just got laid off. I was forced to come back and work in person, work in the office. And now I had to risk moving from where I was at, from a different state. Now they let me go. So now they're in a bind right now. We're seeing a direct hit too for small rural areas. Has your city seen had any effects from this current administration due to grant cuts and just that those funding cuts occurring?
We haven't seen the brunt of it yet, but I know okay. It's I definitely know it's coming. Of course, there's been I think we've seen sadly as we've seen across all over. I mean, there's been significant job loss. Thank God some of our major industries haven't had to do significant cuts. I mean, we have steel industry here, wood pellet, of course, healthcare. That's one thing that I am worried about with the Medicaid cut. So,
Yeah.
That we do have some dangerous bills in North Carolina that is looking to be pushed because of the Republican power at hand right now, such as like permitless carry that I've been advocating against. Also, been advocating against the big cuts to Medicaid as well. But I will say, I think that because here in Eastern North Carolina is much different than the rest of North Carolina, where there's been a study that has shown that the further you go far east of 95 in North Carolina, the lower your for Black males, the lower your life expectancy is, and that's due to, of course, higher health disparities, but lower resources. And so we've been operating with lack of funding, lack of resources for so long, but we've been getting ahead. We've been resilient. And so the thing that frightens me and honestly keeps me up at night is just knowing that so many thousands of individuals is at risk of losing their SNAP benefits, losing Medicaid, a lot of other needs and necessities that people rely on is at risk. Just we have a huge Medicaid uninsured population here in Hertford County and here in Ahoskie, and so I'm just very worried about what's going to come, because I know we haven't seen the worst yet. I know it's at hand.
Oh yeah, and the scary thing is, it hasn't been a full year yet. I mean, it has not been a full year, and yet they're showing close to I want to say between 16 to 17 million people spread out in different states in the United States are losing health care. The sad thing is, we live in the wealthiest country in the world, y'all. Hear me out again. We live in the wealthiest country in the world. We have the money, and yet folks are losing health care. It's ridiculous. And as you mentioned, SNAP benefits. I mean, when you see folks on the right, I mean, we had, what was it, a U.S. Senator out of Kentucky, I believe, Rand Paul. He was frustrated with this new push for the they call it big beautiful bill. It's nothing beautiful about it. Let's just be honest. There's nothing beautiful about it. People are saying, well, there's some beautiful things and there's some ugly things about it. No, it's majority ugly. It's majority ugly. Like, let's come on, y'all. And so when you see folks like him, multiple other again, then supporters of Trump, why? Because that's majority of their constituents that are pulling effect. Now, I'm not giving them credit to that they're fighting for their constituents, because I think too a lot of them also they want to keep a hold on that seat. They want to stay in office, right? So they're gonna do what they can to stay in office. So now all of a sudden, I'm not invited to this because I spoke up, and it's just that. Well, you should have been speaking up since day one. But again, this is not about them. It's about you, Mr. Mayor. Let me stop. I always go off like that, but it's just I'm always curious because I'm seeing stuff happening in larger cities that have so many access to this and that and the other, and I couldn't imagine folks that live in a Murfreesboro, folks that live in a Ahoskie, like you had mentioned. It's the resources, right? It's the lack of the healthcare drop, and so have there been any what's what I'm looking for? Has there been any plans that the town council has spoken about to say, okay, look, if this occurs, will we be prepared to, for it, or is there any solutions or anything that council has been, speaking about? If you care to, share with us.
Yeah, our town council haven't had those conversations just yet. We're looking at the realities of it. We've been pretty much, and I wouldn't say the full council, but a few of us have been looking at the North Carolina policies that we are battling. And, we are in a unique position because, of course, we are nonpartisan. And so it feels, I say it's human rights that we are fighting for right now. So it shouldn't be about parties. But, of course, everybody is just going to see Democrats just fighting the Republicans. But even when Kamala Harris was running, and I agree with you, there's work to be done on both sides of the aisle. I'm glad that you said that and brought that up. But I feel like now is a time that when we look back on history, who's going to be on the right side of this? I know Republicans voted me in, Democrats as well. I was nonpartisan, but I can't look back and say, okay, I stayed silent because I didn't want to ruffle any feathers of any party. No, we got to do what's right for our people and what's right for right now. And if the power that's lying with Republicans isn't in the best interest of the constituents right now, we got to push against that. And so with every fiber in my being, I'm pushing against that here in North Carolina, against some of the lawmakers and some of the things that they're trying to do, as well as what's going on in the United States. So I think one thing that we do have to worry about is just, of course, emergency preparedness, but also looking at our revenue streams. I mean, we rely on tax dollars, and sadly, some of the grants that we've been seeing and I've been in heavy conversations with foundations and things of that nature, but this attack on DEI has caused a ripple effect in, what we are being able to have access to.
Wow.
When everything that we are working on is on the foundation of equity, and when equity is being threatened and stripped away, it makes it even more difficult. There were some things that we were actually working on that was grounded in equity, but of course, things had to shift. Foundations can't really be able to fund like they used to in the past. So, we that is something that's on our radar. We're actually we just hired a new town manager 2 weeks ago. So we're going to be meeting, and now that we have all the staff together, we're going to be doing our due diligence to get prepared and face what we know is going to be coming for small rural towns across America.
Wow. Mr. Mayor, I have about maybe like 6 minutes left, which I have two quick questions. First question is, what's your take on, a lot of voters are wanting to see, new leadership, new faces in office. They're tired of seeing folks, and I've been very critical on both sides. And I was speaking about a elected official who is running her 19th term. She's 88 years old, and she's continuing. And I'm like, this is and look, that's one of many. Okay, it's not like she's the only person. What's your take on at least on term limits, or just again that whole discussion about, well, I appreciate what those that have stayed in office for so long that has done, but I think it is time to provide or mentor the next up and coming. What's your take on that?
Yeah. And again, I mean, I don't have term limits, but I do believe in the successful transfer of power. And I think that one thing that has to happen is that we failed to see is that people getting these seats, they stay them, they ride them out. No progress happens, no change happens. It's just the status quo. And what used to happen was, and I know in certain rural places, Black people used to say, okay, who can we put in position? Who can we rally behind? Who can we support? And how can we mold them? How can we see this young person that's, okay, they came back home, let's get them, let's help them get in this position, or they may be good for a county commissioner. Let's help support them. We don't have that anymore. That's something that I think we need to do. That's something that I know I'm going to do. Not saying there's going to be somebody Black, but I do believe in looking for the next leader, because I'm not going to stay in this. To me, the best aspect of leadership is the leader that you can build up behind you, being able to steal leadership. And so, I want the next mayor to have the proper amount of tools, the proper support to be able to take the town higher than I could have been. So I know some people's like, we're going to vote you, you're going to support you forever. I may have one more term in me, but I believe in because you can't progress with just, the status quo. You have to have innovation. You have to be able to bring up the next leader. And I do feel like that's what's been the issue for so many states, for the country, and for a lot of small towns like mine.
Awesome. Next question, Mr. Mayor. What has been some of the accomplishments since you've been in office, and what are some future goals that you would like to see in Ahoskie, or that you're pushing, as of right now for Ahoskie?
I ran my platform, of course, on crime prevention and reduction around Main Street, improvements in infrastructure and youth opportunities. And I'm very excited because we've been able to tackle and really work on all of those. My biggest, I would say, proud moment is just being able to reduce the crime. We had a lot of shootings, and we had a year where I believe there was last year there was only one homicide. And I remember my first 2 years there was a 1 week I think we had it was 2 homicides in 1 week. And a small town of 5,000, that's ridiculous.
That's serious. That's extremely serious.
Yeah, there was gang issues. Homes were being shot up. But we did community interventions. We worked with our police. We invested more. We invested in crime prevention, and we was able to make a huge impact in bringing that down. We also, we have so many opportunities for youth. We didn't have a recreational department. We was in financial distress for some years, but we finally brought our rec department back. So we have our youth is, they're getting more things to do. They're being more active throughout the summer, and we're just seeing a mindset shift and a culture shift throughout the community. More people are wanting to get involved. They're wanting to do things, and more businesses are opening up. We just had 3 businesses to open up on our main street this year.
That is awesome.
Oh
no, I saw on social media y'all had a steakhouse that was open. So I'm like, okay, now I gotta take a trip. I gotta take a trip to Ahoskie. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Because I'm like, I love steak now.
Yes, I've been real proud about that, and with infrastructure, that's huge. I'm really excited for what's to come. We're going to be wrapping up our first ever strategic plan the end of this year that we've been working on. We have 3 huge infrastructure projects that we are working on that's going to improve our water line systems, our stormwater drainage, and also working on getting additional water pressure on one side of town. And the one thing that I'm most proud about that we're going to be starting is something called Project Block. So you've been to Ahoskie, and I'm sure there was a part of town that you didn't drive through, or at least if you did, you drove through really fast. Exactly.
He's speaking to the choir. He's speaking to the choir now.
Yeah. So for the millennials, it was called the Block. It was called a corner before that, but it's been abandoned. There was a lot of drugs, prostitution, breaking and entering, stabbings, like any type of crime you could think of was happening on that block. And I just introduced Project Block is going to be a program. I just introduced that this Tuesday, and it got approved by the council. We're going to do some renovations, and we're going to flip that from where we used to be called, the Block for Slinging Drugs, to Project Building Love off of community kindness. All of the community is going to come together. We're working with the churches, local businesses, our youth organizations, and we're going to beautify that block and turn it into a beacon of hope for the community, and awesome. Bring the historical presence there. So a lot of people are looking forward to that, and I think it's going to be really big for the community. So I'm really excited to get that started.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I truly appreciate this conversation, man. And please do not be a stranger. Anything that keep us posted of the great things happening in Ahoskie. And you always have a place at home here on the Arrington Gavin Show to share that. Again, y'all, I want to just thank you. Oh, and also, Mr. Mayor, please don't go anywhere. I want to chat with you for just about 2 minutes. So again, I just want to after the show, and I just want to thank you again, all the great stuff that you're doing, and just being just a great inspiration to a lot of folks. I know that they will get that out of this conversation, and I hope that they can continue to follow you on social media and just follow up with great stuff going to happening in Ahoskie. But once again, y'all, thank you for my special guest, Mayor White. Don't go anywhere, Mayor. I do want to chop up with you just for a couple seconds after the show, but I'm going to take him backstage. Y'all, look, once again, yet another great conversation here on the Arrington Gavin Show. I hope y'all enjoyed. Be sure to please continue to tune into the Arrington Gavin Show weeknights, available on all digital and streaming platforms, as well as on the radio airwaves. Y'all take care. God bless. Stay safe out there. I'm out.
That's it for tonight on the Arrington Gavin Show. Thanks for tapping in and keeping the conversation alive. Don't forget, stay connected with us on all platforms. Follow at Arrington Gavin on Instagram, Blue Sky, and X, and subscribe to the official Substack for exclusive takes and deep dives you won't get anywhere else. We're here every weeknight, same time, same energy, same real talk. Until next time, stay bold, stay sharp, and stay true. That's what we do on the Arrington Gavin Show. Peace.